104.7.
#MSW.
You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
The general standard of officiating has been so poor, but I refuse to perpetuate the narrative that we benefited because others benefited before, because that comes with dire consequences. Are we prepared to compromise the integrity of our football just to benefit unfairly? Don't want to be part of that.
And he's saying he doesn't want to be part of that narrative of talking about, we have to benefit because last week or last month or last year, the previous season, somebody else benefited. And I agree. That narrative does not help anybody.
I benefited and I have no shame. Some people have been getting all these benefits. I will get them. I want them for 5 games in a row. I've got no shame on them.
Traore should have been sent off in that match. They also benefited because as a result of that, it was a goal. So they benefited from referee's error. So when they benefit, he doesn't complain. But when other teams benefit, now he wants to make it sound like, no, it's only Chiefs and Pirates where those teams are getting away with murder. I mean, Sundowns also benefit. Everybody, all the teams in the PSL. If you watch these matches, referees make a mistake.
I benefited and I have no shame.
Rob, I think English Premier League is done and dusted. Liverpool are the champions. No team has been consistent like them. The others, I think Arsenal is quite clear. I've been saying to some of my friends, Arsenal, they need a bench.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
It's a Tuesday. We're going to be running, and that is why we have our guest here today, Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947,
Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
Well, I guess it's been one of those days, hey? Very exciting times if you're a Manchester United fan. A proposed new 100,000-seater stadium has been released. And obviously the world yesterday sat up until very, very late at night listening to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, one of the part owners of the club, just pouring his heart out on matters and things that have evolved around Manchester United. He seems to be very happy with the coach. He says he's young, he's exciting, and he's going to be staying at Man United for a very long time. I'm not too sure if a lot of people that support the club feel the same way. I don't even know what club my guests support. Maybe he'll tell me. He's never told me before. In all these years, he's never, ever told me. But guess what? Time's going to be running out. So let's knuckle down here because it is that kind of moment that we've all been waiting for. And I think a lot of people even... when we brought Akani Simbini into the studio, they were saying, when is the season officially starting in South Africa? I can tell you, though, that the season is finally here, and it's time to lace up those spikes, and it's time to hit the track, because a new athletics season has finally arrived, and who better to break down all of this for us than the man who knows the ins and outs of sport, and especially athletics like no other. He's going to be joining us tonight in studio. He's an analyst, he's a consultant, Hollywood Athletics Club elite manager. I think he's ready as well to preview all the action as the Grand Prix Series Continental Challenger 1 kicks off at the Pilditch Stadium in Tshwane. That's all happening tomorrow. Manfred Seidler, welcome, sir. Good to see you.
Good evening. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me. And it's Manchester United.
You support that team?
I support that team. From the days of Norman Whiteside, those times in the 80s. Yes, I'm that old.
My goodness. And you've still survived?
I have. I'm just looking. I'm going to get hammered by my mates who are Liverpool supporters. They're going to But
well, the hammering starts here because you're looking at one. So What do we have to
Can we focus on athletics, please?
Hey, well, you brought it up. I wasn't
I
going to
did.
push you on this one here. But you seem to have had stress, though, in the past 12 years.
Yeah, it hasn't been the best of times, has it?
No.
Oh, well, I mean, when Fergie took over, United were hovering just above relegation. So, the wheel can turn. Newcastle were relegated. Look where they are now. So
You're living on deep false hope.
Dreams.
False hope. Your team is closer to relegation now than at any stage before.
Yeah, it's scary.
The beautiful thing about athletics is that there's no relegation here. So it's either you make it, you come in faster, you come in quicker. You're here to prove that you are better than you were last season. And all these Olympic athletes that are back again are going to be showcasing themselves tomorrow at the Pearl Dish Stadium. And that's the exciting part for me, Manfred, is that, yes, finally, what can we expect this season around?
It's going to be an interesting season. It's going to be an interesting year. Obviously, we've got the World Champs at the end of the year in Tokyo in September. And we've also got the World Road Running Champs also in September at the end of the year. So that's what the athletes are looking for and gunning for. It is quite a challenge for our South African athletes because it's a really long season. If you look at the Northern Hemisphere athletes, which is the bulk of the sport, their summer, and athletics is a summer sport, really only starts in May, June. So they've got the entire winter in which to prepare. And yes, some of them do indoor. Prudence Sekrodiso, one of our athletes, has just come back from the indoor circuit where she set an SA record. And so their season is a little bit different to ours. So it is quite a challenge for our athletes to be able to maintain that level. And it's been a decades-long problem. And no one has ever really seemed to be able to resolve it. So the likes of Akani Simbini and Wade van Niekerk, they would race a lot in South Africa until they finally made it on the international circuit. Now you see them race a lot less in South Africa because they have to structure their season differently. So it's mixed feelings. I remember back last century, literally, the Engine Summer Series, which came to an end in 2003. We had Olympic champions, world record holders, world champions come to South Africa. But they trained in South Africa. They were doing their winter training here in South Africa in the sun, in the summer. They stayed in Potch, they stayed in Stellenbosch, they stayed in Pretoria. And they were then very easily asked to come and join in the summer series. And yes, we contracted athletes like Michael Johnson, for example, to come and compete. And it did help our athletes to be able to compete against some of the best in the world.
But also the profile.
Correct, absolutely. I mean, imagine Arno Malherbe, who for many years was South African record holder in the 400 meters, racing against his idol Michael Johnson on home soil. It just does make a difference. And I think somewhere along the line, we as the sport we've kind of lost our way in that regard.
But is this part of the way of reviving it? Because that's exactly what I was asking Akani when he was here. We've all grown up loving athletics and also just watching it more consistently, being able to consume it more easily.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, we've lost that ability to say, okay, guys, 8:30 tomorrow or 8:30 whenever, let's switch on to the television, which is what maybe, let me just ask you, what television do we have for the meet tomorrow?
It will be on SuperSport. It's usually on channel 208, which I think is Variety 4.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is tomorrow, usually the Grand Prix are start at 6 in the evening and go until 8, 9 and 10 o'clock. This is different. We're now starting at 4 with the A program and finishing around about 6, which is earlier than usual. So we'll see whether or not that makes a difference in terms of people coming to watch. I think one of the biggest challenges that we have and this is not just in athletics, but in sport in general, is a lack of financial backing. And it's a vicious circle. In order to get the financial backing, you've got to offer a product. But in order to have the product and do the product development, you need the financial backing. So what comes first, chicken and egg? And it's a problem that most sporting codes haven't been able to solve. Excuse me. In 2018, there was this short, brief revival, and we had high hopes that athletics would once again reach those pinnacles of the ancient summer series when Liquid Telecom came on and sponsored the series. Unfortunately, that only lasted for 1 year because Liquid Telecom decided not to finish the 3-year contract for whatever reason. Akani, we speak about Akani, he was actually personally sponsored by them, and they also pulled the plug on him. But don't they ever declare, though, sorry to come into that thought, it's just that before I lose that thought, that
as you talk about them saying cheers to the series and no longer sponsoring and even doing so to an individual, surely at some point they're going to say that, guys, listen, we leave in the sport because we don't like 1, 2, 3. Then we are in a better place of knowing next time when we try and endeavor to go out searching for another sponsor to try and avoid that. But if they don't say anything, surely, Manfred, that doesn't help us.
No, it doesn't. I know there were internal challenges with Liquid Telecom that, and I don't know the full story, but apparently the CEO committed to something that he couldn't commit to, and I stand under correction. And then the board and general management turned around and said, but no. But if you look at the Liquid Telecom Grand Prix series and previously the Engine series and so on, they were not managed by a federation. They were managed by an eventing company. And no disrespect to any federation, but no federation should be an event organizer because that's not their bread and butter. Bring in the experts and let them do it. And let those experts go out and find the finances. As a federation, your job is to provide opportunities for athletes to compete, and in the case of athletics. But you are not an event organizer. Event organizing comes with massive challenges. You need the experts for it. It's the same as if you need an expert to go and find finances.
So why then do the federations continue to hog that space that they know that they don't excel in?
Again, I think it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, and it's been an ongoing conversation that I've had and a number of people, not just me, had with Athletics South Africa and other federations, including SASCOC, is where do you start? And the biggest challenge, for example, if we look at Athletics South Africa, is they have an acting CEO. They've had an acting CEO for a decade, if not more. And the reality is that they can't afford a corporate CEO. So to run the business.
So what do they do with the acting CEO? He surely still gets paid.
No, he does get paid, but it's not his area of expertise. So,
but he's holding on to a position that maybe they could have found somebody who would have been willing to take a lesser slice of the cake, but still take athletics somewhere, and then they can always strike a deal, Manfred, and say, listen, CEO, you get us a sponsorship, you get us this, you get us that. We promise you 15% of whatever sponsorship that you get is going to be yours, so that you incentivize not only him, but the sport as a whole. But if you plug the gap with somebody who's going to be sitting there as an acting person for over a decade, I mean, similar to what's happening with football, but the benefits are not there in the end.
No.
I don't think so.
The what you say is completely valid. And if we look at the history of athletics, Athletics South Africa was officially formulated in 94, 95. And the CEO then was Bernard Rose. And he was brought on specifically for that reason. His job was to go and find finances and then go and find the call it the eventing companies, their expertise to go and host the events. And his tenure ran until 2000. And Athletics South Africa was very healthy up until then. And then after he left is when slowly things started to implode.
Sure.
And I think one of the challenges that we face within athletics, other sporting codes as well, is that we've been doing the same thing the same way for all these years, but expecting different results.
Never gonna
and unfortunately, call it the powers that be, for want of a better word, don't know how to get out of this quagmire. And I mean, not making excuses. I mean, these are sort of the facts that I've been picking up. It literally is going to take a very brave individual company to turn around and say, we can help you. And 2018, that actually happened with the Liquid Telecom series. It was brought on by a company called Stillwater Sport. They actually went and put on this event, found the sponsorship, and then put on the series. They brought out Justin Gatlin. They brought out Joshua Cheptegei, for example.
Yeah.
And Tux was packed. It was packed to capacity. In fact, they had to turn people away.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember from the Engine series, when you had a 20,000-seater stadium at Polditch, and people were braaiing. And you could, in the evenings, you could see the smoke of people doing the braai.
Affair,
it was fantastic. And family affairs, I think, were the one thing where we actually are missing it as well. It is a family sport. Because if you look at school athletics, it's thriving. Because the parents are watching their kids and so on. How do we bring that into, call it the senior level?
Manfred, with the a minister like we have with Gayton McKenzie, and happy belated birthday to him for yesterday. He seems to say certain things in a certain way, and depending on what sporting code it is, he'll be very vocal. And I know he has said things here on this platform about swimming South Africa. He was not very happy about them. So we've also decided to go and investigate what it is that he was not happy about. And, maybe sometime this week we'll hopefully bring in the role players as far as that is concerned. Because, me, everybody else would love to see swimming thrive. That's our gold medal. That's just our medal. Hopeful at any meet. You know that very, very well. Yeah. So when it comes to athletics, and I know that we're reaching a part on the 31st of May where there could be a change of guard because there are the board elections that are going to be happening. So it's the ASA president, James Molloy's last term, basically, that he is serving right now. So come the 31st of May, things could change. Are we looking at excited individuals that are standing by? I mean, what are you hearing on the ground? Are we likely to find that energetic person who is likely to bring that change?
Well, so the current board could be in line for a second. Well, some of them on the current board could be in line for a second term, as in the case of the president, James Molloy. And I know his hand is in the hat. There are other individuals who have raised their hands. The challenge we have, and this is so what you see at national levels, what we see at provincial levels, is what we see at regional level, is that there is, and this is in sport in general, I think there's a distinct lack of entrepreneurship, if you would. I think that's the word we're looking for. To turn around and say, I'm going to rock the boat. I'm going to do things differently. And, see if I can't change things up. And I think that's a problem in sport in general. So it's a problem, definitely a problem within athletics. And it's because there's a mindset of people who have been in the sport for generations. And you know as well as I do, as we get older, change becomes more and more difficult. It's almost a case now of where we need to actually hand over to a much younger generation, I think. And basically turn around and say, listen, we've tried. You give it a shot. Because I mean, if I look at the likes of Akani and the sprinters and so on, I'm 56 this year. He can't relate to me. Like I'm twice his age.
Sure.
So I'll speak a corporate language. I'll speak an eventing language and so on. But am I speaking the language that he understands? What about the youngsters, the juniors?
The Wallazers of this world, yeah.
He looks at the ASA award. I went and shook his hand, said, well, he looked at me and goes, thank you, sir. He had no idea who I was. And that's right. He needs to be able to speaking to somebody within the regional and the national structures that he can relate to. And I think we, from a sporting point of view, and not just in athletics, that we need to relook at things.
But do you have to take a break though? But do you agree to the notion for ASA to go and bid for the gold track event that they do want to come forward and stage? I mean, the track and field gold label event that they're saying they're putting their hands up to. They're going to be traveling to Monaco to go and meet World Athletics so that South Africa can get a shot at hosting it.
I'd love to see a gold label event here. I'd even love to see a world championship here. And there's no reason why we can't host that. We've got all the resources. We've got all the facilities. We're going to have to upgrade some of our stadiums. Excuse me. But, that certainly, I believe, would absolutely trigger a resurgence of the sport. Soccer World Cup 2010. You look at rugby, you look at Cricket World Cup, and what it did for the sporting codes in the country. I think it'd be a great impetus. But what we need to understand is that if we host a World Athletics event, World Athletics come in and run that. It's not us. It's not Athletics South Africa. It's not even eventing. Yes, we will use resources and so on, but they come and this is our event. You'll run it according to our protocols.
Which means, again, we need the government guarantees. And without government guarantees,
Correct.
We are as good as not even beginning on that trip. Right, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk ASA, the GP, taking place tomorrow night.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
From cool beach hangouts to underwater adventures. From indoor tropical rainforests to thrilling theme parks. A Dubai holiday has it all. Fly better to Dubai with Emirates and start your holiday the moment you board with delicious regional meals, complimentary drinks, and amazing entertainment. Book now on Emirates.com. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Today, standing out in the job market is more important than ever. Postnet and Huru are here to help you succeed. Did you know that many organizations require a criminal record check before hiring? From educators to retailers, drivers to lawyers and more, Postnet has you covered. For just 305 Rand, add a Huru criminal record check to your CV and stand out from the crowd. Visit your nearest Postnet today. Postnet, helping you succeed.
Have you ever wondered how you open a handy-andy bottle in order to refill it? Some people use a knife while others squeeze the bottle and hope for the best. But did you know that all you have to do is twist, pour, and you could win weekly grocery vouchers with 2,500 Rands each? To be entered into the draw, simply buy a handy-andy refill pouch from your nearest supermarket and WhatsApp a picture of your till slip to 064-918-0630.
What the heck does Braga even mean?
It's me! Cleverest.
Refreshing, the best thing in the world.
Very much ahead of time. Self-made businesswoman.
The main star of the show.
A hot topic.
Yeah, Braga's a little bit of
People want to know what's going on in me. My fans are bad.
It means everything and beyond.
You know what I mean? You know how I mean.
Catch Nadia Beyond Braga Saturdays at 7:30 CAT on BET Channel 129.
The reels are getting bigger at Lotto Star. Get ready to feel the thrill on our brand new exclusive slotteries. Lucky Lobola, Japanese Fortune, and Kwaito Queen. With amazing features like scatters, wilds, and slot bots. You could win instant payouts of up to 10 million Rand. Spin the reels now, only at Lotto Star, your world of live games.
Lotto Stars licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
Ready to take your first step into the world of trading? For a limited time only, XM is offering you $30 free to start your trading journey. No deposit needed. Trade with XM, the most awarded broker, trusted by over 15 million traders worldwide. Don't miss out. Take your trading potential to the next level. Visit xmza.com, register with partner code XM947 and claim your $30 today. Trading can involve risk and result in the loss of your invested capital. T's and C's apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Incredible Jerry Cox. He is from Haters TV, the YouTube channel.
Manchester United nearly won the game there, but not for the first time today. Heroics from David Raya to deny them.
Amarim's going to be paying for what? Paying for the sins of what? Maybe not having the right strikers. Is the player complement okay at Man United, or do you find them faltering, needing, lacking? What's your take?
I don't think there's any area of the pitch where they're strong enough to be a team that pushes for the top four, even come next season. A goal-scoring number 9, which they clearly don't have. So, United have got a tough job to persuade top players to come to join them.
#MSW. #MSW.
All right, all things to do with athletics as we take our final moments and the final stretch here with Manfred Seidler, athletics analyst and consultant, Hollywood Athletics Club elite manager, is my guest.
And Rob, and good evening to Manfield. I think it's going to be an epic season opener tomorrow in as far as athletics is concerned, particularly in the 100-meter and 200-meter distance. I'm looking at the competition of Zakiti Nene and Litsile Tebogo. I think they could pull up an exciting show for the spectators, but I'm very concerned with the prize money that has been put up for this series. It doesn't look like athletics is one sport that could create sustainable careers out of it. Very concerned with those prize monies. I just hope that one day somebody will invest in this sport. Thank you so much, Tebogo.
Tebogo, thank you very, very much indeed. Mention some key names. We're going to come back to those names and chat about them with Manfred. But I think it's important. I also saw those prize monies. I almost fainted. I'm not exaggerating, Manfred. And I think you know where my heart is when it comes to the welfare of athletes across whatever sporting code. Why are we where we are from a prize money perspective?
Bottom line, no sponsorship. That's the bottom line. That's the reality. The prize money. I mean, if memory serves me correctly, last year or the season before, there wasn't even any prize money. And it sounds terrible to say, but at least there's prize money now because you're right. I mean, for a lot of these athletes, these young athletes, it's a way of earning an income. And if you look back, and we're going back generations now, the likes of when we had the mines, Kulile Yawa, Lopen Falanson, they worked full time. They still raced and so on, but they worked full time. Johan Fourie was fully employed by the police services. And you're going to find that more and more athletes are going to have to start looking at that, even if it's a part-time job. The problem with that is of course, that A, it impacts on your recovery time. It impacts on your training time. And it becomes, again, this horrible chicken and egg situation. We need sponsorship. We need investment in the sport. And the big question that investors will ask is, what are we investing in?
But now you got the television, though. You did say that Supersports are going to be there. So they'll see their product. If it's there on TV, it makes sense. That's part of an agreement. But just to put it on the record so that people were scratching their heads and saying, but what are these guys going to be getting? The win. The platinum win in these events, person who comes first basically is receiving 5,500 in terms of prize money. Those who finish second get 3,000, and those who finish third will receive 1,500. Nothing's changed from that. Those are the figures you know as well.
Yeah, that's the same. It's not great, and that's why you'll find that a lot of particular middle distance athletes go straight for the road. Because there is good money in road running right now, and that's how it should be. And there's various reasons why road running is so attractive to investment. Is because there's a mass participation. As much as we have these guys like the McCorkers, the Galans, the Glenroses, and so on running in the front, which is great entertainment, you're getting tens of thousands of people lining the streets, and a corporate sponsor looks at that and goes, I put them in my T-shirt, and you get this beautiful aerial photograph of 10,000 people wearing a pink, blue, purple, green, whatever color T-shirt. That's fantastic marketing. And track and field, unfortunately, doesn't have that. So it becomes a case of how do we monetize our heroes? We heard Tebogo talking about who's coming to race. Akani's not racing. And for obvious reasons, he's preparing for the European summer, preparing for world champs, and I completely get that. But he's a draw card. When I say we, the sport is not using its assets to market. 2018 or was it 2019? Philip Potch. That hashtag, that by the way was started by Akani Simbini. That was his brainchild. He started it going. He got all the sprinters to go jump on it. Yeah. Then the middle distance guys jumped on. Then Custer jumped on. And when you went to Potch, it was chock a block. But you also had rivalries. You had Akani taking on Wade van Niekerk in the 200. That's what we want to see. We want to see head to heads. We want to see competition. Yeah. And that's the biggest challenge we have within athletics and track and field right now is we've got pockets of excellence. So Tebogo mentions Letsile Tebogo from Botswana, Zakete Nini, and who he didn't mention was Sinisipho Dambile, who just recently set an SA record in 150 meters. This kid is electric. He really, really is good. Yeah. I saw a Facebook post, and the graphics are amazing. I've got to give Athletics South Africa credit for that. The graphics are really good on social media. But it was today. Tomorrow's the event.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that a little bit short-sighted, though? Because people plan. Going to Tshwane means a highway that usually around about that time is full of traffic. Correct. So how do you plan your days? And these days it's been raining almost every day, and especially around about that time. Yeah. I was happy to see African record holder, the 100-meter race, the man Ferdinand from Kenya.
Yeah, he's back.
And he's going to be here tomorrow.
He is. Yeah. And last year when he competed in the Grand Prix, and particularly in Germiston, he was such a crowd puller. People loved him. He was signing autographs until when the lights went down. And that's where we're not capitalizing. Wow. Because we have got the talent. We've got the head-to-heads. I spoke about Prudence Sekhodisa earlier. Yeah. So she's going for the World Indoors, which is happening now in March, and she's hoping for a medal. She says she's not promising a medal, but she's hoping for one. This kid, I call her a kid. She's her early 20s. For me, that's still a kid. But she's got so much potential. She's got so much pedigree. I remember, and I'm going down, when was it, 2022, just before COVID. 2020, just before COVID, at the Gauteng North Championship, she ran the 800 meters. And for the first time in her career, she ran 2:02 low for the 800 meters. She crossed that line and she was jumping and she was screeching and people loved it.
Yeah.
And she's developed a persona now, which people
she
really
is a
enjoy.
character, though,
She
eh?
is.
And it's going to be the first time this year that she's actually racing on South African soil, which is really exciting. And like you were saying, what she's gone and done as far as indoor running on the European indoor circuit is concerned is great, because that kind of worked on her 800 meter time of 1:59.88.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that your Lukolo Adamses of this world, your Emil Erasmuses of this world would also be eye-catching. But the one individual, before I let you go, that I have to talk about, because so many people have been asking me about him and the fact that he's come back. He's also reached out to me and he says, hey, listen, Rob, things have taken a turn. You know, all of this negativity that was surrounding my name, all of the bad things that were happening to me, and decisions that I had taken, which are my decisions, my cross to bury, are done and dusted. That's Luvo.
So he was at the press conference today. He's 34 years old. He looks 28.
Oh, wow.
He really looks lean. He looks young. He's still got that smile. He's still got that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I really hope he's able to produce something. I think it would be unfair to expect him from 4 years being out of competition for 4 years to come back. Even if he's 200% fit and in the best shape of his life, it's that competition fitness. So he won't be lining up tomorrow. He'll be next week at UJ. But, you know, I mean, he's got a great story to tell. And again, are we using him as look, I've fallen, but I'm back. I'm turning my life around. Are we using him?
That's why I said to him, dude, listen, we need to chat to you. We need to chat to you because your story is something not only inspiring as far as sport or athletics is concerned, it is inspiring for anybody, just a human being that lives on this planet.
Yeah. And if you look at how he got to what he went through, it's quite a tragic story.
It is.
And to overcome that, and touch wood, he's put his demons to rest.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic story.
That's a former world champion.
Correct.
That's all I'm going to say. That's a former world champion. You can't mess around with that. Manfred, so tomorrow, up until when? So once off, how many days? What is this track?
It's what we call a prestige, a Grand Prix meeting, so it's a couple of hours. The A program is from 4 until 6. The events I'm looking out for is the 400 meters, which is where Zaketinine, Letsile Tebogo, and Sinisipo are competing. And for me, that has to be the highlight. Prudence is doing that at the 1500. Shanae Swart goes in the women's 800 against the young lady from Botswana. I must just make sure I get the name right now. Oratilia Noe, an Olympian. Now, Shanae, and I know we've got to wrap this up, is a youngster. She's just gone sub 2 for the 800. When last have we had two people? In fact, we've never had two women sub 2 in the 800. Again, there's an opportunity. And I'm getting goosebumps now as we talk
just
about
to
it.
hype it, get people to understand the logic. And I always find, Manfred, that the only time we ever talk about our athletes is every 4 years when there's the Olympic Games, which is not good enough.
I've always felt and always thought that we need to be building up to that moment in 4 years' time, 2028, when Akani or whoever it is lines up in the 800 meters. I'm watching TV and I'm going, I know this kid. I've seen this kid go from here to here. This kid's got potential. That's where we need to get to.
So you got to be part of their journey, not just part of the end product.
Absolutely.
When they are there. Manfred, as always, man, keep doing the great work that you're doing.
Thank you.
The voice of reason when it comes to athletics. And thanks so much for shining that light right here on the show tonight.
Thanks, Rob. An absolute pleasure. Thanks for
Appreciate it. Athletics analyst and consultant, Hollywood Athletics Elite Club Manager. That is Manfred Seidler joining us right here on #MSW.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa and the Marawa faithful. Right now, I don't know the way forward for Man United in terms of even the protest from the fan, because I think fans are feeling that how they're running it and what they're doing it is putting us nowhere. We're ready to build a big stadium, but the team is halfway fixed and you've emptied out half of the staff. It makes no sense. Arsenal, again, expected a better game from them as a Man United fan even. I didn't think they performed like a team ready to challenge for silverware. Excited for Formula 1 race week this week. That's the one I'm looking forward to. Let's have a great sporting week going further and enjoy. Cheslin from Boxburg.
Cheslin, thank you. Thank you very, very much indeed. Completely agree with you. The way forward for Man United is one of the things that he is chatting about. But right now, though, we center our focus and we head off to Nigeria. Well, it is going to be a defining moment, though, for the beautiful game as well on our continent. Tomorrow, all eyes are going to be on the corridors of power as the Confederation of African Football elects its next president, an election that would shape the future of African football for years and years to come. I guess it's high-stakes games, man. It's going to be intense lobbying. I can guarantee you that. The future of the sport hanging in the balance. Going to be bringing you expert analysis, though, from none other than the renowned African football journalist who's in Nigeria right now and has been at the heart of the action. I mean, he's been tracking every twist and turn leading up to this crucial vote. So what is it that is at stake? I mean, who are the key players here and what does this mean for African football? It's a monumental one, and I look forward to chatting to Osasu Obiawana. He's going to be joining us straight after the break. He's a football journalist, he's a broadcaster, and he's coming through for us right here on #MSW Live from Nigeria.
#MSW Live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
Double the value with this double deal from Vodacom, Mzansi's fastest 5G network. Get two Samsung Galaxy A25 5G smartphones on a 1.4 gig red core plan for only 429 Rand per month over 36 months with a 1 gig data plan on the second device. Plus, 12 months Prime Video Mobile Edition and 24 months View on us. Limited time offer. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm stretching for tonight.
I thought you're not dancing at bachelorette parties anymore.
Baby, we need the money to put Johnny through matric mos.
And what's the police uniform for?
The clients feel safer when I wear it.
No, man, just sell your bucky to We Buy Cars. They give the best prices and they pay you within minutes.
Okay, but can I just go and dance one more time, please? You know how much I love it.
No, the buyer's already on his way here.
Wow, okay.
Strapped for cash? Just sell your vehicle to We Buy Cars. The easiest way to sell your car by far.
I got a secret. Do you love to play? Do you love moolah? Then you'll love Fred. Sign up on betfred.co.za for the best odds online in SA across lucky numbers. Play sports and all your favourite games. We'll match your first deposit 100% up to 5,000 Rand in bonus funds. Because you can always bet on Fred. Betfred is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s are permitted to gamble. National Responsible Gambling Program on 0800 006 008. All games are fixed odds. Betting events. Winners know when to stop.
Are you living with diabetes? Tired of painful fingerstick tests? The Freestyle Libre 2 system by Abbott Laboratories sends glucose readings straight to your compatible smartphone. With minute-by-minute glucose readings, optional glucose alarms, and excellent accuracy, the Freestyle Libre system is here to support you in the management of your diabetes. For more information and where to buy Freestyle Libre 2, speak to your healthcare professional or visit www.freestylelibre.za.com. Now available at your local pharmacy.
Experience the ultimate winter escape and cruise the Mediterranean with Royal Caribbean, where sun-kissed beaches and ancient cities await. Explore destinations like Barcelona, Florence, Naples, and Rome by day, then unwind with world-class dining and live entertainment by night. Visit cruises.co.za or your local travel agent to book your Royal Caribbean cruise now. T's and C's apply.
Experience more unbeatable value this Big Deal Wednesday at Food Lovers Market. Buy a 7 kg pocket of farm fresh potatoes for 50 Rand. That's a 7 kg potato pocket for only 50 Rand. And save on 2 500 gram packs of Food Lovers ground beef for an incredible $69.99. Now that's great value. Valid this Wednesday only at all inland Food Lovers Market stores. It's in the experience.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
So a quick call now to the UK to get all the latest analysis, insights and predictions from the incredible Jerry Cox. He is from Haters TV, the YouTube channel.
Always good to speak to you, and thank you for calling me incredible. I'm not sure it's that I deserve that, but I do a job.
You do an incredible job, Jerry.
And you do, Robert.
Can we say the same about Manchester United's manager? Can we say the same maybe about Arsenal and their season so far?
The good news for you, because I know you're a big Liverpool fan, is I can officially pronounce the Premier League title race over. I think Liverpool have won. 15 points is way too much at this stage for Arsenal to make up.
Well, Liverpool are on their way to the title, it seems. The crown is passing over.
#MSW. #MSW.
All right, let's head off to Nigeria, where Osasu Obianwano is standing by. Osasu, thank you so much for your time. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Hello, Rob. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm very well. Good to hear you so loud and so clear today. I think we always wait for these moments sometimes, Osasu, to reach out to you because I know your network. I know the people that you have conversations with. I know what gets written. I know what to believe. I know what not to believe. But I always, in our disagreements, I trust you in terms of bringing us the lowdown. We've got a couple of hours left. Can we say that by the end of tomorrow, the continent of Africa will have a new CAF president?
Not if, only if the Patrice Motsepe that we're going to have for the next 4 years is going to be different from the last one. Then yes, you'll have a different president.
How? Come on, Osasu.
The last time I checked, it's the same Patrice Motsepe who became president in 21 who is contesting tomorrow, and he's the only person on the ballot. So, you know, when you talk about an election, what election is there when you have only one person for the presidential contest on the ballot?
You and I know how things worked out even the last time when the intervention came through from the FIFA president to declare with the three gentlemen that, listen, stop fighting for these positions. We got a way of dealing with things. So I never know what happens behind the scenes. I mean, are you happy with the fact that he goes uncontested as far as this election is concerned?
Yeah, but let me put the question back to you. And let's look at this through the prism of our national politics, whether it's in Nigeria, South Africa, or anywhere else. How would the citizens feel if when national elections come, they only have one person on the ballot to be president? No choice, no debates, no people to look at to compare and contrast to see whether one person is better than the other. They've basically been set up with a fait accompli. I don't think this is not good for football. And, you know, this is not just an African problem. It's becoming a global problem where democracy is seen as an anathema to the governance of the sport. I think it's really sad that we don't have contests anymore. If you're a candidate for a position and you have confidence in your ability, you have confidence in your ideas, go and test them in the democratic marketplace rather than having backroom deals to ensure that there is no election but rather a coronation. I think it's unfortunate.
But what if people say that if there aren't any nominees or nominations that come through from other quarters to say, okay, we think you are going to be dealing with Patrice Motsepe very well, so go out and challenge. But you also look at some of the financial reforms that he has brought through. I look at them as some of his achievements during his tenure, where he inherited a substantial deficit, which, correct me if I'm wrong, was estimated between 40 to 50 million US dollars. And under his leadership, and we saw the success of the CAF Africa Cup of Nations, their health now has improved markedly. And I think the profit that came through from the Africa Cup of Nations, I mean, that surged to 72 million US dollars, a substantial increase of about 4 million that was happening back in 2021. So if you are putting an organization into financial health, don't the people around you say, you could take us to an even better place?
Well, I mean, that's a perfectly plausible argument to have. All I'm saying is that if you've done that and you're confident in what you're doing and you have confidence that the Congress respects what you've done, there should be open democracy. People should be able to debate you. They should be able to contest for the position alongside you. And if you've done an outstanding job, then you shouldn't worry because your opponents have no chance. But the reality in football, Robert, is that most elections are conducted and concluded even before the formal ballot takes place. If you go to look at what's happening with regards to the CAF Executive Committee, so many people are returning to the CAF Executive Committee without having to face an opponent. And even some who are coming into CAF for the first time are not facing any opponents at all. Don't you find that a bit strange? Do you think that it is good for good governance? Do you think that is good for advancing the cause of democracy within the football space?
The answer is no. I think it isn't. I really like proper contestations, but then at the same time, what those brought about sometimes with the advent of the brown envelopes, the people lining up in corridors at the last minute in hotel lobbies and et cetera, et cetera. So you don't want to bring back that culture, but we just also got to find a way of making sure that we don't lose the essence of what democracy is. If you, as Osasu, were to criticize, and again, critically and constructively criticize the reign of Patrice Motsepe, what would you say his downfall or his shortcomings have been?
Well, one thing, I think it would be really good if Mr. Motsepe can really talk to the media. You should be able to explain what you are doing. You should be able to explain your policies, your vision. I mean, the only time as journalists we get to speak to Patrice Motsepe is when we have a general press conference. I've tried many times to have a one-on-one with Patrice Motsepe. He hasn't done it. He hasn't done one with you. He hasn't done with our colleague Mark Gleason. He hasn't done any with any notable journalist on the continent. And for 4 years, even when Ahmad was there, we could talk with him. Even if Hayatu would speak to the media, even people he didn't even like, and have a serious exchange of views with them. We don't see this from Patrice Motsepe. I don't know why. I mean, he's a fellow South African. Maybe you can explain it, Rob. Why do you think he's so averse to having one-on-one conversations with the media, especially with journalists that actually know the African game, to really discuss what he's doing at CAF?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Good question. I wish I had an answer for you, Sasu, because even at the time when he was still, the president of the club, Mamelodi Sundowns, we would push and pursue because we chat to all the other chairmen of clubs and the presidents of clubs in the local football. Maybe I can count 3 or 4 that always refuse to have a conversation, and which is fine. It's their prerogative to do that. Even with, the new president or the new chair of the club, Tlhophi Motsepe, somebody that I talk extensively with off air, but where it matters most when it comes to dissemination of information to the public and to the supporters, which is where it matters most. My one-on-one conversations don't matter for anything because I can't carry those on a platform like this. So I also thought that with the advisors around him, they would encourage him to be a bit more open, to have, like Sir Jim Ratcliffe did yesterday. I know it's a different thing, but he had an interview with a former player who's now a media personality. And there were times where he was pushing him, a couple of tough questions. So the only time to have a credible interview is to be able to have somebody to ask you those pressing tough questions. It shouldn't just be like little sweetheart, Mickey Mouse, dessert, custard and whatever, mushroom type of interviews. Those take you nowhere. And I fully agree with you that maybe at some point, even if he brings into the room a select 4 or 5 that he feels he can start with and trust to begin this process, and I think he should do that.
I remember at the last AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, we had a press conference just before the start of the tournament. And I just went up to the podium after it finished, and I said, Mr. Mosepe, I would like to have a one-on-one conversation with you. I'd sent him messages directly. I'd sent messages through people who knew. Said, oh, yeah, Sasu, we'll see how we can do on during the tournament. But of course, that never happened. And I doubt it's ever going to happen. But it would be in his own interest to really engage the media in a more meaningful way. And beyond that, Robert, I think for African football to really, really begin to move in the direction we would like it to go in, I think the destiny of African football, the future of African football, needs to be decided by Africans. It shouldn't be decided by non-African people in FIFA who come into Africa and interfere in these elections, because this is what has been happening. It's been happening for quite a while now. And this is why more often than not, the federation presidents in these elections are going to vote along lines of what people in FIFA tell them to do. However, it's going to be interesting how things will turn out during the FIFA elections for the FIFA Council, because many FA presidents are really upset with what seems to have been the FIFA diktat being laid down. So a lot of interests are shifting and changing, and we really can't be 100% sure what will happen until the very last moment. What has been the prevalent opinion over the last couple of weeks is that we could see a situation where we have 4 or 5 North Africans or people of Arab extraction winning the 4 out of the 6 seats on the FIFA Council, which would really make things quite complicated, because we have several regions, and in an ideal situation, all the regions of the continent should be reflected on the FIFA Council. But when FIFA now, when the General Assembly of CAF now decided to alter the old system, they've now made it a free-for-all, because before it used to be you would have 2 Anglophones, 2 Francophones, and then the remaining 1 seat would go to the Lusophone, Spanish-speaking and Arab-speaking countries. That's how it used to be. But now it's no longer like that. And this is what is causing a whole lot of confusion now, because with about 8-9 candidates and only how many seats, I suspect that there are going to be several rounds of voting tomorrow. But whether this will reflect a continental balance, I very much doubt it. In fact, if care is not taken, there may be no Anglophone African on the FIFA Council except the CAF presidents, if things go the way a lot of people are suspecting.
Before I let you go, Osasu, I couldn't help but touch on the issue, which obviously grabbed the headline. It was such a major victory as well for Samuel Eto'o, who won his appeal and who was touted that he might even challenge Patrice Motsepe for the presidency of CAF. But it looks like it's more him now running for a position within the CAF Executive Committee. Which of the two is it?
He's not even running for a position. Sorry to interrupt you. He's virtually guaranteed a seat on the CAF Exco, because he is contesting from the Central African region. And the other person who was supposed to contest from that region was knocked out as a result of some ethics issues. So he's going to be a sole candidate. So unless there is a miracle tomorrow, I don't see how Samuel Eto'o is not going to be on the CAF Exco. That's going to really make things quite interesting.
Is he a bit of a threat, though? I know I'm using the word very loosely, a bit of a threat. Do you see him as a threat to the number one position?
I doubt that for now. I mean, if you talk to people in Cameroon concerning the quality of his governance as president of FECAFOOT, Cameroonian Federation, people are deeply upset with how he has managed football in Cameroon. I don't see how that's going to stand him in good stead for his international ambitions. I mean, Samuel Eto'o has been a first-class football player, a world-class football player. But being a world-class football player and being a competent administrator that knows how to manage people, that understand the intricacies of the game from an administrative standpoint, having the skill set to manage all those things in order to move football forward in the country is not easy. I mean, this guy has been a federation president, and he's now looking for his third kit sponsor in less than 4 years. He's changed his general secretary so many times. People on the FECAFOOT Exco and the General Assembly have been up in arms concerning his conduct. Don't forget that he was sanctioned by FIFA for being a federation president and being the representative of a betting company at the same time. I don't even understand why he would think in his wildest dreams that doing those two at the same time would be an ethical thing, because it's a clear breach of the FIFA ethics code. But, Samuel is an interesting character, I have to say.
I think our next conversation will start off with Samuel Eto'o. Thank you so much, Osasu Obiawana, our football journalist and broadcaster coming through live from Nigeria. I appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, have a good one, Robert. Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much there. You can follow Sasu on social media, on X, Twitter. Catch us again tomorrow. Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
From the pitch to the podium, your all-access pass to the world of sport is right here. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. #MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.